We're going to be speaking to Chris, a very experienced plumber and leak detector, who's going to let us know some invaluable information about how to make sure your rental property is being well maintained and there's no serious hazards that are going to occur. It's very important from a property management perspective to make sure all the compliance requirements are met and the tenants are doing everything they can to look after your property. Thanks for joining us today, Chris. If you could just tell us a little bit about your history with plumbing. Have you been a plumber for a while?
Yes, I've been a plumber for 20 years in the Gold Coast. We currently run and operate Koenig Plumbing with my wife Shannon. We have 3 plumbers at the moment, Jamie, Lockie and Paul, who are really good plumbers, and we specialise in anything plumbing.
Yeah, fantastic. Chris, we just wanted to give some information to people about common problems that come up in properties, rental properties on the Gold Coast. Are there some issues that you normally find that you're dealing with all the time?
Absolutely. One of the biggest issues we find are the braided flexible hoses.
Oh, yes.
Right? They can cause so much heartache. And it's as simple as just looking at them to see if there's any rust forming on them, because that can generally be a solid sign that they're on their way out.
Yep.
And when they do go, they usually go in the middle of the night or when no one's home.
Yes.
And basically results in flooding the house.
Funny you say that. I had a client yesterday who had her house flooded for 48 hours because of one of those bursted things under the vanity.
Absolute nightmare.
Flooded the whole bottom level. Okay. So that's one common problem. Are there any other issues that you generally come across?
Yeah, so another common issue is shower membrane failure, right? So this is the most common leak I come across. It could be a sign that the surrounding door frame, anything like that around the shower starts to swell. And like I said, it's a really common problem.
Yep.
There's a lot of companies that specialise in sealing the shower as you see it.
Yep.
However, a lot of the time it results in having to take the tiles off.
Wow, that's a big job.
And go about it. Yeah, it is a big job.
Okay.
But like I said, we see it so much.
Wow. Okay.
And then of course you got underground water leaks, and we specialise in all things leaked. Usually they'll
concealed leaks.
Yeah, the tenant or the landlord will get a massive bill, and there's generally an underground water leak somewhere.
Wow, okay. And so there's 3 common problems you mentioned.
Yeah.
Is there anything that tenants or landlords can do to prevent these things happening so they don't have to do the maintenance at the end of the day?
Yeah, so if they just keep an eye on their plumbing, basically, one of the main ones is toilets. So water running from the cistern into the bowl constantly, that can really increase the water bill.
Okay.
Hot water tanks as well, if the relief valve is constantly dripping, or even if the tank starts to look like it's just starting to get rusty and old.
Yep.
Keep an eye on things like that. But also, every couple of months, have a look at the water meter when there's no water being used in the house.
Yep.
You can see if the number's ticking over, that means obviously water's being used somewhere.
Yep.
And then there's an underlying issue somewhere.
So you could actually save money by just monitoring your own house to
Absolutely.
make sure,
Yes.
to see if nothing's leaking.
Yep.
That's a really good idea. So I was going to ask you about that as well, Chris. So concealed leaks we've done a few jobs together with concealed leaks, and it seems to be quite common, and not many people know what they're supposed to do if they find a concealed leak. If you could just walk us through step by step what we should do if we find a concealed leak.
Yeah, so if you obviously find a concealed leak, or you think there might be something going on, either we'll contact you, Nathan, or a plumber like myself. If you contact us, we'll come out. We basically take over the whole job. We locate where the leak is, we repair it. If it's under concrete, we cut the concrete out and can reset the concrete as well.
Yep.
So you don't have to worry about anything at all.
And is there something we can do to test to see if there is a concealed leak before we get a plumber to come out?
Yeah, so that's with the meter reading. So if you take a photo, if you're going to go out,
Yep.
take a photo of the meter reading before you go.
Yep.
And when you come back, have a look at that and see if that reading has changed. That's a good way of doing a quick test to see if there is an issue.
That's a really good idea. So that's something people could do normally. A lot of us, we need to find plumbers on a regular basis. How do you tell if you're finding the right plumber? Are there some licensing requirements? Should they have some kind of insurance? Because I guess, worst case scenario, if you get someone out, they do a bad job and they flood your house, that's a terrible thing to happen. So how can an average person know that they're getting a good plumber to do their job? What should they look for?
Well, most plumbers now who are advertising or have a legitimate business name, they have to be insured. So there shouldn't be any dramas with that. I mean, if you're looking on, marketplace and finding some sort of handyman that's going to do plumbing work, I'd be a bit concerned about that.
Okay.
You can, like an unlicensed plumber or unlicensed person can do basic jobs like tap servicing,
Okay.
or you're replacing an outlet wash on the toilet.
Yep.
But any other work needs to be done by a licensed plumber.
By a licensed
and
plumber.
It's regulated heavily by the QBCC.
Okay.
There's obviously a lot of penalties as well.
And do you need to have insurance as well to do
Yes, you
plumbing
do.
work, like
You
public
do.
liability
Yes.
insurance? Okay, so
Yep.
that's something people should probably be asking as well.
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
Ask that plumber on the phone.
Okay.
Make sure they're all up to date.
Yeah.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any issues.
And just another question. So, what about costs? Like, how does it work with plumbers? Do you get paid? Do you charge by the job, or is it by the hour? How does it
depends on
normally
what the
work?
job is. Like if you've got a job that requires a fair bit of digging, it's supposed to be an hourly rate.
Yep.
But a hot water cylinder replacement or a toilet service, tap service, things like that, generally most guys will have set pricing for that.
Okay.
Which they can provide you over the phone.
That's good.
But things like an underground water leak or an underground broken sewer pipe,
Yep.
where you just don't know what's in the ground.
Yep.
That's where you're going to have, there'll be fees like leak detection and probably CCTV and jettering if required.
Okay.
But just for labour of digging,
Yeah.
that's probably going to be an hourly rate just because there's too
Okay.
many unseen
Yeah.
obstacles in the
You
ground.
don't know what's
Yep.
there. And Chris, about the concealed leak detection, I mean, I've had to find out a lot about this myself as well. It seems like there's so much equipment that you need to do that, and not all plumbers seem to have all the equipment that's necessary.
Correct.
So if you could just tell us a little bit about Koenig Plumbing and the equipment that you guys have when you do a concealed leak detection and repair.
Yeah, so we use acoustic leak equipment. We also use compressed air to pump up the water main. It's one of those things though that can't really be, you can't just buy the equipment and do it straight away. Like
Yep.
It takes years and years to try and get that down pat.
Okay.
In fact, a lot of companies, other plumbing companies use us to find the leaks for them too because,
Okay.
yeah, they might not have the time to try and learn all that.
Okay, so there's a lot of equipment involved, isn't there?
Yes.
There's like some kind of sonar device that you need
Correct.
to...
So sonar device, look, at the end of the day, like you've got thermal cameras, things like that, like you're spending
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of dollars to get set
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
So we're a pretty specialised outfit in that we
Yeah.
do all that. We do take care of the whole thing, the whole job.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great to know. So essentially, you guys can provide that really good service that you
Yep.
actually know the job's going to get done, and
Correct.
only done once, and then you're done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Hand basin under kitchen sink.
Okay.
It's generally the under kitchen sink ones and under the hand basins.
Yes.
They're the ones that let go.
Okay.
And it's just, like I said, it's as simple as having a look at it.
Yep.
If it looks rusty, that's
Yeah.
when it's time to
And
let
Chris,
someone know
what
about it.
happens if they let go? I mean, you're saying essentially it just floods the whole house.
It does. It's just like a hose running flat out in the
Oh
cupboard.
my gosh.
So it'd be a good idea for everyone to familiarise themselves with where the water meter is.
Yep.
Make sure that the valve,
Good idea.
isolation valve, actually operates properly.
Right.
Because in the middle of the night, you're not really running around trying to figure out where that is, trying to turn the water off. If you
Yep.
know where that is straight off the bat, then it makes it a lot easier to try and
Okay.
shut that down.
So that's what you do in the emergency situation. But what would you normally be looking for? So should people be monitoring these braided hoses regularly?
Yeah, so every few months, just have a look under the sink, under the hand basin.
Okay.
And yeah, if it looks rusty, if it's got a bit of rust on it, it's time to let someone know about it.
Really? Even a little bit of rust,
bit of rust.
around the joint or on the hose
On the
generally?
actual hose itself.
Okay, a little bit of rust is actually
Yeah,
needs
that's
to be
all it can
replaced.
take.
Okay.
Yep. And then the metal on the outside can let go, and then the rubber inside can push out and burst.
Certainly worth doing if you think about the
Absolutely.
fact that if it goes, it could flood your entire house. You'd need
Yep.
to get your floors and carpets
Everything needs to
redone.
be
And
done.
I've seen it happen
Yes.
just recently as well. And just on that point of water efficiency as well, you know, for a tenant to be charged for water, that the place needs to be water efficient, and it's also good to be water efficient to save yourself money.
Correct.
What does that actually mean, water efficiency? What kind of things need to be
So
done?
we go through and check the house. All the taps inside need to be below 9 litres a minute.
Okay.
Toilets need to be a dual flush.
Right.
I think it's 6.3 litres max.
Yeah.
You know, then when you're having a shower or whatever, that's, it's not using that much water.
Yep.
You know, if it's over that, it could be up to 20 litres a minute. There's a lot of water wasted
Wow.
there. But to provide the certificate, they have to be all below 9 litres or less.
Wow, okay.
Yep.
Well, that's good to know. Well, thanks for coming by today, Chris, and explaining that to everybody about those plumbing issues. Really appreciate it.
No worries at all, Nathan. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.